Hello and welcome to my podcast. My name is Allie and this is Allie Rambles podcast. I'm coming to you from Arizona, specifically the Mogollon Rim. If you haven't been there or don't know what I'm talking about, definitely look it up. I believe it's spelled Mogollon, Mogollon Rim. Anyway, this is the first episode of my new podcast. And for the most part, this podcast is going to be me reading and commenting, possibly, my website, allierambles.com. Hence the name Allie Rambles Podcast, allierambles.com. So here on my podcast, I'm going to just simply read my blog posts. Now, I've been writing for my website, Allie Rambles, since 2020. And the very first post that I put up is about my Arizona trail Thru-Hike, my AZT Thru-Hike day 0. What was I thinking? In just a little while, I'm going to read that to you. But I probably should give you a little bit of a background to me. As of right now, in May 2024, I was trying to think of the date exactly. I think it's the 13th. May 2024. I am a 52-year-old woman going through menopause. I live in a 17-foot travel trailer. So a lot of times I'll be coming from you from somewhere outdoors. So here we go. My AZT Thru-Hike day 0. What was I thinking? Side note, this is from my blog, allierambles.com, where I do talk about nomadic living. This blog post exactly was before I became a nomad, and I had just recently sold my home a few months before that, and I was living in Arizona with my mom, and I had the opportunity to do a Thru-Hike, which is a long distance backpacking trip basically, and this is the Arizona Trail that I'm going to be talking about, and it is over 800 miles from the Mexican border to the border of Utah. And a second side note, I didn't finish it because, as you can note, this is actually a post from March of 2020. Now, you can guess what was going on in March of 2020. Yeah, this was when the article was published, but I started this trek back in February before the big pandemic that occurred to us and around the world in 2020 and subsequent years after. Anywho, that's a little bit of the setting. Let's go on. My AZT Thru-Hike day 0. What was I thinking? There's this beautiful picture of these Arizona mountains here. You'll have to check it out. I'll leave a link. Have you ever felt you weren't ready to take on something big in your life, yet you did it anyway? I had 3 weeks to prepare for my first Thru-Hike. Hiking and car camping were what I did, quote unquote. I had plenty of gear for both of those activities, yet backpacking and Thru-Hiking, I had no gear, unless you count my hiking shoes. I consider myself an avid hiker, constantly heading out near home and a little further out to take on a trail for a few hours. This was something I enjoyed maybe 3 to 4 times a week, and I can get a little obsessed. But long distance, that was a completely different beast. Speaking of beasts, I couldn't believe the size of my backpack I bought at REI. I remember explaining to the guy helping me that I was through hiking the AZT, Arizona Trail, and he suggested this humongous 65-liter red tank of a backpack. Side note, there's a link. I bought it. My Osprey Aura AG 65-liter carried all I needed with extra space at the top for 76 miles. So yes, I'm writing this after I got off trail. A little bit of a, what do they call it? It's an ending spoiler. Back to getting ready for my AZT Thru-Hike. I'm a bit of a good day hiker, but long distances while carrying heavy weight and staying overnight in a tiny tent were foreign to me. I'll admit I was nervous and scared about taking this on, yet my excitement overwhelmed me. I swear I felt that my adrenaline was pumping from the moment I said yes to the trip until the summiting Miller Peak Wilderness Boundary Ridge. That was about a 4-week span. I always wanted to backpack and never really made plans. I think I was just being a big chicken and came up with excuses to not do it. What got me out there this time? Saying yes, but thinking no. Next chapter. Long story short, I had recently moved from California to Arizona. Looking for a fresh start, I was planning on buying a conversion van to travel and hike. Soon after my move, I was laid off from my job, and my hiking partner and best buddy of 14 years, my dog Maggie, passed away of cancer. That was in February of 2020. Early February 2020. I was mentally stuck. I didn't feel motivated to move on and simply wanted to be left alone for a while. Then Janice came into my life. Her and I are members of a group of over 40 women hikers sponsored by Hiking for Her. I put a link. I happened to come across a post she published looking for anyone that wanted to hike the AZT. Something took my fingers, and before I gave it any thought, I typed yes. I'd hike with her. So just brief, I don't know if I explained it properly. There is a forum for only women hikers, and Jan put on there, would anybody like to hike the AZT? I didn't know what the hell the AZT was, but I said, yes, sure, I'll do it with you. Complete stranger in Wyoming. And I said, yeah. I looked it up later. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to be hiking 800 miles with complete strangers. That is possibly not a good idea. Didn't occur to me though. I've never been impulsive, yet something in me said to take this and run. Don't think about it. 3 weeks later, we're at the Mexican border, grinning ear to ear, ready for our ascent. And there's a picture of me and Jan and David, my tramily, is what they call them on long distance. I guess I'm ready. I was ready physically for this walk or climb. I had been ramping up my hike each day with longer treks and heavier weight. What I wasn't ready for was the long, winding climb on the side of a mountain with about 36 pounds of top heavy weight on my back. I had a lot to learn about through hiking, and it was going to come quickly in the next few days. Yeah, so just a little bit of more information on that. I told Jan yes. I believe it was somewhere around February 12th of 2020. This was before there were whispers of this sickness, this COVID-19, floating around, but it was in China still, or there weren't that many cases yet. So, we didn't think anything of it getting on trail. Thank you guys for listening to the first episode of Allie Rambles podcast. There's a lot more to come because I have quite a few posts to catch up with. This one obviously is from 2020. We are 4 years, almost 4.5 years later. Maybe 3 months, 3 months, 4 months. Anyway, thank you for listening, and head over to my blog. And if you want to read along, you can while you listen. Wait, you already listened, didn't you? Anyway, thank you for listening. Check out the website, and I will see you next time.